welcome everybody. It's really nice to see you all here in Dunbarton Hall, in our beautiful gallery, our building. And if some of you might be local, I know some of you have come from further afield, but you know, it's really nice to see you all here today. We are so delighted to be hosting a Joan Eardley exhibition. It's just been, I think it's long been one of our dreams in the Borough Hall, this forms part of the year of the 100th anniversary celebrating Joan Eardley's birth. The works here, you might know, if you're a Joan Eardley aficionado, you might know some of her works. They're all on loan from different institutions, so sadly we don't actually own any. But they have come from, this one here comes from Dunbartonshire Council. The one at the end comes from Argyll and Bute Council, and the rest are all from the Lillie Art Gallery as part of Dunbartonshire Council. So we're just really thanks so much to everyone for trusting us with these precious works. We have been delighted to work with two young people, Amy and Jack, who have been our exhibition assistants. They have researched Joan Eardley's work over the past couple of months, and all of the exhibition panels and the information panels have been written by them as well, so you can mingle and meet with them later as well. We're also really hugely delighted to welcome Jan Patience here. Jan Patience is an arts journalist, and she writes a column for the Sunday Post. We were so delighted, we thought, we'll just send her an email and ask her, and she said yes, so we're so delighted. We've got, of course, the stars of the show are Anne and Pat Samson, who I just met a few weeks ago. They have amazing stories to tell of Joan Eardley, amazing stories, what memories. I think you're really in for a treat listening to them, and also at the end of this, you'll be able to chat to them as well. This has really been a massive partnership project. We've worked really closely with Argyll and Bute Council, with Madeleine Conn, who's worked with Jack and Amy, and with Charts, who's the Culture, Heritage and Arts Assembly, and we've got Muriel here from Charts as well. So it's just been all hands on deck. I don't think there's a single person in this building that hasn't been involved in getting this together. And also, just want to thank the Borough Hall team for just pulling, everyone's been involved. And of course, we've got the amazing Rob here, who's behind the camera as our amazing volunteer operating the live stream. So the running order today is I'm going to hand you over to my colleagues who will just say a few words each. And then we'll have an in-conversation with Jan and Anne and Pat. That will run for around 20 minutes. And at the end of that, there'll be a Q&A. So if you think of any questions during the in-conversation, just keep them in your head, and we'll ask the questions afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Madeleine Conn, who is the Cultural Coordinator for Argyll and Bute Council. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming. We were approached at the beginning of last year by the Scottish Women in the Arts Research Network, who are doing this huge, big celebration of Joan Eardley because of this painting that we have in our collection, Little Girl with a Piece, which was painted in 1959, but it was bought for the collection the year after Joan Eardley died. We are a schools collection, so the Argyll Art Collection is in all the high schools in Argyll and Bute, and it travels around. And the idea behind it was that art was not accessible to young people in Argyll and Bute. So Naomi Mitchison and Jim Tyre went around collecting. They never spent more than £100 on a piece of work. Joan Eardley's work is such an incredible piece, and we really wanted to celebrate it. And our partnership with Dunbarton Hall has been kind of ongoing since, well, for many years. The two young people who we worked with, who are Jack and Amy, who are sitting just there, did incredible research as part of this project that Muriel's going to talk about in a second. But it seems really appropriate that young people are interpreting these works today. And Lucy was just telling me that young people from Dunoon High School came today to look at the paintings. So it's just this idea that we can share this work with people, with the public, but also with young people. So I'd just like to thank Jack and Amy again for their brilliant research and the brilliant interpretation, and also thank you to Dunbarton Borough Hall, who've been absolutely outstanding. Thank you.
Okay, well, I hope everyone can hear us here, and apologies for having my back to you guys over here. But we're being live streamed tonight. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, I believe. So it's very exciting to be here and to be in real life, as they say, IRL. But I've never been to Dunbarton Borough Hall before, and it's absolutely beautiful. So my name's Joan Patience, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here tonight with Pat McLean, nee Samson, and Anne McKenna, nee Samson. Now, they probably need no introduction to anyone, as they were a long time ago, 60 years ago, when they were painted by Joan Eardley. And they lived in Townhead, and they're two of a very big family, 12 children. They lived nearby Joan's studio. So we're just going to have quite a relaxed chat tonight about what it was like to be painted by Joan Eardley, because there aren't many people who can say that. And there's not many people actually now who can say they knew Joan Eardley either. So I'm just really interested to know what it was like to take you back in time, if I can. Maybe starting with you, Pat, because, well, you're both in this painting here, which I hadn't seen before, and it's called Skipping, isn't it? So, yeah. Did you just see it tonight?
No, that's the first time I've saw it tonight, actually, John. I don't even remember seeing it in Edinburgh, but...
No, you don't either. And
I think I did see it in Edinburgh.
So and it was on the walls of Oban High School, I believe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We just went to Edinburgh to an exhibition, and I seen it hanging on the wall, and I was showing my grandkids it.
Is that right? And
like
so, tell us, who's who then? Who?
I think that's Mary at the back there.
So on the far left is Mary, your big sister.
Aye, big sister. And that's Andrew, the big brother.
Right.
And that's me.
Okay.
And that's Pat. And that's David, who's now passed away.
Yeah. David was the baby of
Aye, well, David wasn't the youngest. Robert was the youngest.
Right.
But David was only 28 when he was killed in a car crash.
Gosh.
So.
It must be so funny to. I mean, how does it feel to see you as wee girls, really? You know.
Actually, I don't know. I think you've got to have an eye for that to appreciate it, because Joan always put me as face round like a turnip. Carried red hair and violent squint. So I must have been a lovely baby. Nothing gone from me at all.
And I believe that she did say to someone after you got your squint fixed that you weren't of interest to her anymore. Because
the found like a turnip and the carried red hair didn't even excite her. I think it was all the colours, like all the red hair and all that, and the squint. Don't appreciate it. I think that's
you were interesting to paint and draw. Yeah, and I mean, do you think that, Anne? It was, you know, what did she see in you as a family, and you know the other kids around?
I think because there was 12 of us, she used to paint buildings in the street, and my older brother Andrew, who was her favourite, he met her and asked could he paint him. So he was disappearing after school. My mum thought he was going to my gran's, and then one day he came in, she went, "You're not going down to your granny's every day for school?" He went, "No, I got your woman's house." So my mum being that curious, she went, "I'm taking you down." So she's dragged him away down, met Joan, and she says, "I've got 12 rooms if you want to paint in."
And did she give you like coins and stuff to to paint?
She used to use threepence.
Right.
A
Okay.
thrip and a bit. You used to call it a wooden thrip and a bit, and you'd get a penny drink, a halfpenny drink, and a penny tray. out the shop for that.
Penny tray.
And, I mean, Joan was a big part of our family,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. When my mum got to know her, she used to come up to the house and she'd say, right, I'm taking that one, and that one. But many a time you get slapped in the head off her if you didn't sit still for her.
So what was she like then as a person? Like, what are your memories?
I was terrified of it at first.
Were you? Right.
Because she was just like a big man to me. It was the black duffel coat, the big black polo neck, corduroy trousers, short hair. And I said to Mama, I'm not going with him. And she went, it's a woman, it's not a man, and you're going. Mama just wanted rid of half his.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, it was quite a small house, so it was like you lived
We
in.
were in 2 bedrooms and there was
So 12 kids.
12.
And your mum and dad.
The boys were in one room, the girls were in the room, and my mother and father were in the living room.
Right.
So it was quite, but we just loved it. I can just imagine Joan sitting doing this,
So yeah.
painting it. It's the way, and I said, how does that turn out like that? She just in a wee palette and just keep doing this all the time and looking at us. And,
Yeah.
But we would run a savvy in our house. I don't know how she's, honestly, we used to just run about screaming and shouting and bawling. I don't know how she even, I would have threw them all out and said, right, I'll take the one I'm painting today. Just, but,
Sometimes, I mean, we'd just go to her house to get a heat. Do you know what I mean? Because she does black, it was like a fire, she used to burn wood in, and it was great just sitting at that fire during
Yeah,
the
getting
winter,
the-
because back then, it was poverty, and sometimes Mama couldn't afford coal.
And
We
this.
used to have to break furniture up.
Well, I was going to say you brought the furniture up.
Aye,
Then
to
sometimes
get
you took drawings back
Aye.
home, and they were in the fire.
Mama tossed them in the fire.
So I mean, they were. When you think now, you know, they're on the walls.
I mean,
And
we used to use them, and it was like drawings, and we used to play aeroplanes with them. But we didn't know then that
yeah.
how famous she was going to be. God love her. It's,
And-
aeroplanes.
And what was the studio like? So it was a kind of rickety
Aye, it
old
was-
building, wasn't it?
You went in the close and it was like a spiral staircase. You used to run up. In fact, sometimes we had to shout and Joan to come down and get us because there was a rag stored in the stair and we called the man Scabby Bang for some reason. That was his name. And we used to shout, Joan! Well, we weren't allowed to call her Joan, it was Aunty Joan.
And
we used to shout, Aunty Joan, Scabby Bang will not let us up the stairs. And she used to have to come down and get us.
But and was that you called her Aunty Joan just because in these days you know, I remember it was Mrs.
That's right.
So and so or Miss so and so. So it was. So that was a sign of affection because by that stage she was quite a close friend, you know.
She was very close to our family. Just if my mum wanted a bit of peace, she'd say, "We used to Jones." It was, I don't know, when she used to scalp me in the head, I used to get a few scalps in the head off her right enough because I wouldn't sit still for her. And I said, "You nearly finished?" Soon, probably about an hour later. She would say, "Right, you can go."
But and what kept you going? Was it just, you know, like did you get a piece
Getting
at the
a
end?
piece in cheese and treacle, which makes me sick now.
Yeah,
And butter up in the bit.
you threw up in a bit.
Aye.
So it was quite crafty. And I've always wondered how, you know, you're all in the bright clothes and everything. Was that your clothes or was it shared?
Joan used to ask us to wear the same clothes, like if she was painting us. And I think she went to second-hand shops and got us clothes so she could keep them in the studio. And if she wanted us to wear them, we had to wear these clothes she could go to the second-hand shops.
But it was a matter of the times, first up, best dressed. I mean, honestly, it was, I used to go, I'll take these soaps because they're cleaner. And it was really
Where are you
hard.
in the family structure then? So you're the older by a year,
Aye, a
aren't
year
you,
and a
Pat?
half year.
So where do you fit in? How many above you?
That's right, there's 12 days, right? So I'm the...
You're the fifth youngest.
Robert, George, David, and then me, I'm the fifth. youngest.
Right.
I was
Okay.
the youngest lassie,
Right.
which I was always getting a doing after my mother.
When you went into your studio, it was like, all in about it was all drawings and paintings and...
But the smell of paint when you went in, the smell. I used to love the smell of paint, but now I hate it.
Is that right? So the smell of linseed oil
there
and...
was a lot of different smells in the studio. And I always remember this bed, it was a wrought iron bed, just a wee single thing. And she would say, you want to go to sleep in there. Sometimes we would go down and go to sleep.
Because it was warm and all the rest. And were there other adults around or other? No, there was.
Well,
Angus
was
was there at times.
So this is Angus Neil, who was
Neil,
Angus.
he was there at times.
Right, he was a friend of hers from Hospital Field. She met him. Was that right?
That's
Yeah.
what I was trying to think of the name of the hospital.
I think when Angus was there, he would kind of try to draw us while Joan was doing it. But I don't think he ever made it as an artist.
I have seen some of his
he's done
work, and they're quite
few things,
quite
aye.
nice, but similar to Joan.
Aye.
Yeah, and I mean, how has it impacted on your life being drawn and painted by Joan Eardley? You know, are you recognised like when you go to exhibitions and things? Yeah.
I mean, we were through Edinburgh one day and we got lost and we said to two guys, can you tell us where the train station is? They said, I could have around the corner. And then the next minute they were running after us. And I said, oh, they're running after us, what have we done wrong? And it was two guys with art galleries. And they says, I know this is a long shot, but you two Samsons. And I mean, everywhere you go, you're always recognised.
Yeah.
I mean, our pastor of our church says, were you painted by Joan Eardley? He says, I've seen her paintings, he goes. And then up in Iona, when we used to go up to Iona, it was the lady up there, she was a right fanny, Joan Eardley's, and she said to me one day, something about Samson. She said, you some of the Samsons that was painted by Joan Eardley.
Is that right? Yeah.
I think I like it at times because it keeps the name recognised, it keeps her name recognised. I mean, I don't think people will ever forget her, but to me, I like it because we get her recognised for what she done.
And she was so young when she died. I mean, do you have memories of when she died and what?
We went to her door one day and she told us, go away and don't come back. Right? So we were quite upset about that because she'd never done this before.
What age were you then?
I was about 7, partnered with about 8. And we went up to my Magdalene and she went, what's up with you? I said, Joan, tell us not to come back near the door. So Mama says, no, this isn't right. So she went away down and she came back and she says, Joan's going back to where she came from and she'll not be coming back. She never told us she'd cancer and that then because we were still young. But as we were growing up, she explained it. She went, Joan didn't want us to know she was going to die. She just told me to tell you she was going back to her own place. But Andrew went up to visit her when she was in the hospital up there. This is what a changed woman.
Right.
He seen a big change in her. I said, was she still a big man? He went, no, she wasn't really at the end up.
So he went up to Aberdeen to see her, did he?
He went up there. And I think he went up when she died, when they were taking her away. He went up because he says we were standing the train platform when she was going away.
Right.
He says, and it was the most horrible experience out. He says, I'm actually sorry I went up.
Right.
He says.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he seems to have been, as you say, he was like very close to her and she took him up to Catalan and, you know, and they...
That was the only holiday he had, was going up to Catalan with Joan.
Yeah.
And then when he joined the army, she was quite upset.
Right.
Because he was going away. And she said, you need to join the army, Andrew. Don't join. But he wanted to do that. But when he was coming back, he would go and visit her. And then Mama had wrote to him and says that Joan had cancer and she was going to die.
Right.
He came back home, and he was back home a few weeks when he went up to
Yeah.
where she was.
Gosh. Well, and how are we doing for time? Because I'm thinking here that we're talking for 20 minutes, but it's very interesting, I think. But yeah, are we okay? Yeah, keep going. Yes. I mean, do you ever sort of think that there's a bit of a divide? You know, still that this Joan's been sort of taken into the art world. You know, after she died. You know, that's.
I think it's horrible because she had nothing when we knew her.
Yeah.
She didn't have money or things like that, even though she used to use my threepence. She didn't have money, and I always remember her saying to Mama she wanted to have a Christmas party for the weddings.
Right.
And Mama says, you can't afford it, Joan. She went, I'll sell one of my paintings. And she sold it for £50 just to have this. Back then that was a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And now the painting is worth thousands. That she sold for £50.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? Now these drawings that you put, paper aeroplanes or you put in the fire, you know, they sell at auction.
Don't bring that rubbish home here.
I know.
You can't on fire with them, so
Uh-huh.
I think it knew. That's what they say, the one that burnt millions.
Uh-huh. But yeah, you would never have, you weren't to know at the time. And what about the rest of your family then? Do they feel the same way as you? Do they kind of recognise that? You know?
Okay, I don't think there is much recognised.
I think you two were very recognisable. I mean, obviously, with the red hair, Pat, and you know, I mean, I had a drawing on my wall of you. It's like a turnip. Yeah, I mean, my wee girl's got red hair, my big girl now, but she has red hair, and I had that little, postcard on my wall of you for so long, and it's funny now. Here we are.
Well, they've got it up in the school in my grandson's secondary school. Said my teacher used to take him on, and I don't want to see it.
Is that right?
Don't tell anybody, sir.
So your grandkids.
Doesn't like it when if maybe a big art teacher comes into the school and they sing for him. And they go, I don't know nothing about it, and I don't like it.
Yeah. But so your grandkids are now learning about Joan in art because she's on the curriculum in Scotland, and then they get to look at you in the books or whatever. And is
that granny are showing up?
I mean,
the eyes of yours, the squinty eyes, know that.
They do ask questions about it. How did you get to know her and all that? They do ask questions. But even when we were at secondary school, the teachers used to send for us and say, oh, such and such is coming in, you need to come and talk to them. I said, we don't know. I said, because they're horrible paintings.
So, you were saying earlier you're not that keen on the
I like her landscapes. I think it's just the way she painted us. I felt as if we were tramps.
We were tramps.
We were back then.
I mean, we had nothing. I mean, it was, and it seems that one of the councillors and MPs didn't want them showing the paintings because they made Glasgow look poverty, but that's the way Glasgow was years ago.
Yeah.
And it's no. I mean, we used to get, my dad would hold my shoes. My dad used to cut washcloths up and put them in my shoes to go to school with, so we never had nothing.
I mean, what she did was she seemed to capture the last days of Townhead in particular, when it was just about to get razed to the ground and the motorway was put in and so on.
It's still cut up there to this day.
Yeah.
And just see where Joan's studio was, and it's very, very emotional.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone sort of would go on a walk around Townhead, which I've done, you wouldn't know it, but, I think if anyone knows the Rotten Row maternity hostel, which the facade is still there, if you walk along that street, which is all Strathclyde University. Your house was in there, is that right?
Right.
And then the studio was a wee walk down
St James's Road.
St James's Road, which you can go and try and find it, but it's difficult.
You can see, you can still recognise St James's Road. You can still recognise where a studio was, because there's an old school right across the road from it, and it's still there. So that's how you can tell where Joan's studio was. It's mad.
You both got very long, slim necks. Were you athletic? Did she like your athleticism or in these days? Were you good at skipping? Did you do all the things?
Joan would sometimes join in and Peaverways and played at skipping.
So I think she joined you skipping, you said, like in the street sort of thing. So.
Sitting coffee as well, we all jumped.
So yeah, I mean, is there anyone? I'm sure everyone's got lots of questions for Anne and Pat. So if you want to just put your hands up and we can ask them. I'm sure you're bursting with questions.
I think that red hair would be in vogue now. To tell you.
I love it
That
now.
face and that hair would be in vogue because it's so fashionable.
Yeah.
You were just born too early.
I didn't, I mean, my grandkids and my 2 daughters have got the red hair and I love it. But then I think it was just thought the carrot, red hair.
Yeah.
It's an unusual name, Samson, isn't it?
No,
Where does that come
more
from?
lot. I don't, well, my dad, he was, but he came to Stirling, so it wasn't, so I don't know through the generations where it came from. It's an unusual name.
Anyone like to ask a question? Yes?
When my mum was a kid, she got painted also.
Uh-huh.
And I was just wondering if you ever meet any other kids?
Oh. So your mum got painted as a wee girl. She's looking very embarrassed there.
Did you ever meet any other kids that were involved?
No, we didn't actually, but we knew that she'd painted kids for Port Glasgow and things like that. The wee pram with the wee crowd in a bit of the
right.
she'd painted that.
But
Yeah.
we never met.
No, we never.
No.
She didn't have other people in the studio when we were in.
There's too many us going in.
Well, I was lucky enough a few years ago to go to Cataline with Anne and Pat and a few of the people from the National Galleries, and there was a chap there called Ron Stephen, who he grew up in Cataline. He was a wee boy, similar ages to you, but she never painted anyone in the village. It was only in Townhead that she painted people. But there was the odd figure that crept into the Catalan paintings, but not many.
But it's quite strange going up the Cataline as well, because when we went into the wee cottage and I'm like, I wonder if Joan stood here, or
Yeah.
I just actually shivers through me. I'm saying, I wonder if she stood here. And I'd walk out a bit and I'd go, oh, I wonder if she stood here.
Yeah.
It's
No,
quite emotional.
it was an emotional day. I remember you were both feeling it. Yeah. So, anyone else want to ask a question? Oh.
I was just going to ask, I don't think this is working. Anyway, you said you came from a really poor background, but to what extent do you think that knowing Joan has created opportunities for you that you might not have had throughout your life?
Well, now and again we get a piece, as I say, we get a piece of Joan, because sometimes my ma had no money to even buy bread. So we'd go up and say, come on, we've got and get a piece of Joan. So that was...
Did it make you have an interest in art?
No.
That was a no.
We only went for the threatens.
Could she cook?
No, I don't think I've never ever seen a cooker.
No, I don't think she had a
There
cooker.
was always a piece in Chico at a table, and the Chico was always sitting there, and so I think it knew
And was it with the cheese? Or
Aye,
with cheese.
Cheese and treacle in the same piece.
But you were glad, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Because you
That's
didn't know where your next piece was
It's
coming.
lovely at that time, you know what I mean? It was...
yeah, I think if you're going to speak, I think we have to, for the live stream, we have to have people with the microphone. So Yeah, so we've got over here a question.
Did she ever paint your mum?
No.
No?
She was too busy hiding things.
I think, well, she painted Angus, who you mentioned earlier on, but I'm trying to think if there was other adults. There's some life drawings that she did, I think, with... She didn't really, did she?
I know the one of Angus standing at this fire with the mantelpiece, and he's got his arm on the mantelpiece.
I don't think we remember that Joan painting.
No, I don't remember her painting it, but I've seen the painting there. And the one of Angus and the nude.
Oh yes, that was controversial, I think. Yes, yes, that was in the Daily Express.
Very, very. God love him, it was like something at the Belson Horror Camp.
Oh, I know.
Very, very.
He had a sad life, actually. Yeah, I think so.
He failed at art school.
Jenny,
So did Joan have any favourites amongst you all?
Andrew. Definitely, aye. And that was one of my favourites till I got my squint sorted.
So that's Andrew there, and he was painted a lot. I mean, there's Andrew with a comic is a very well-known painting, isn't it?
A pair of wellies and a pair of shorts on.
He would have that kind of welly welt on his legs, like everyone had. Jill, you're good with the questions.
Sorry to ask another question. This will be my last. I just wondered. So you described her physically, but what was she actually like as a person? Like, did she have a good sense of humour, or how would you describe her?
She was a great person.
Aye, she was a good person. She was interesting. She had a model to, well, not so much model, but she had to sit and paint, and I think that was her main thing. She used to paint.
Did she laugh a lot, or No.
I think she did.
Oh.
I think she did. She'd laugh at me when she's getting the need anyway.
No, I don't think she was quite serious looking, I thought.
When she was painting, she was serious looking. But other times when you met her out in the street, you would say she was a happy person.
Right. Yeah. And she had the studio in Townhead, but she would go off to, Bearsden, she lived there, or Catalan, she would go up the road.
She also had a studio in Montrose Street, but we didn't know that one.
We didn't know that one.
That was two studios she had there.
Now, Amy, who's one of the young people who worked on the exhibition.
Hi. You've described how Joan kind of stuck out because she was quite, dressed in corduroy and quite manly looking. Do you think she stuck out in the area of Glasgow?
I think so, right.
Yeah. Did that draw you to her?
Is that what?
Did that draw you to her? Were you fascinated by her?
Anne was kind of scared there. It didn't bother me one way or another, but you were kind of scared there because you're like, I'm not going with him. It's a woman, she said, but she eventually went anyway. And I think what had me there was your buck teeth, because she had quite dominant teeth, and we call her buck teeth bungo basher. That's what we call her when she was young.
They used to say you rented your teeth out of a horse.
A horse.
And maybe that's what she liked about you then as well. That was different, and it was
always something different.
She'd always say to me, "Did you not come your hair today?" Because my hair was always sticking out somewhere.
Oh, we can see. I suppose maybe what you're saying as well, that Joan was gay in an era when it was not, it wasn't recognised or discussed. So it was maybe quite unusual for you as wee girls, yeah.
No, it doesn't matter
what she was now.
No, yeah.
I've probably seen it any different, but...
Do you think you were almost like a kind of wee crazy surrogate family for her? She liked that about... You were at a distance, she was able to keep you at a distance, but, she had the relationship, particularly with Andrew, yeah. Interesting, yeah.
He'd probably tell you a few stories, good few stories.
Well, we need to do part 2 and get Andrew up then, for sure.
But he get more than us for getting painted. He gets honours.
And they just found it in Edinburgh about
Is that-
2 years ago. You can like get a tanner, it's all coming out new.
That's an exclusive. Andrew got paid more than Anne and Pat. That's terrible.
Me again.
Yes.
What about the other kids in the street, like from other families? Were they like, oh, we want to go to the painter's house?
She probably did paint other people in the street, but wasn't sure of that. It's just because we get painted in our studio. So we were quite privileged.
Yeah.
Do you think they were jealous?
They weren't certainly jealous in my look. I look as if I've got a pair
It's kind of sticky outy.
Probably was they combed it.
No, it is definitely. Anyway, I think we're probably running towards the half hour here, so we probably, unless anyone's got a burning question for Anne or Pat. Oh, one question, and this will be the last one, I think.
If you could speak to Joan right now, what would you say? Is there a question you'd want answered?
No, because why did you describe me like that? Because school teachers never read that and we're going like that. I think my brother, he was quite a wild one. Joan didn't like Ian, didn't he?
Because he broke into a studio.
Which brother was that?
Ian.
Right.
She never ever painted him.
I said, what did you ever do that for? And she went, to get a heat.
To get Brilliant. Okay, well, listen, thank you so much, Anne and Pat. That's been absolutely delightful. It's just a privilege to be here and to hear you chat. And I think now, Jules, would you like to say a few words? Yeah.
I feel like Eamon Andrews, in life. But just like to thank you both for coming to the Borough Hall and taking part in this evening, and just hand you both a wee memento to take back with you.
Oh.
Little memory. So thank you both once again for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been, I think if everyone could just sort of, give Anne and Pat a round of applause, that would be brilliant.
Pat's greeting.
I know. It is beautiful.